souls. Well, welcome to Sharon's live at 2:11 a.m. in the morning in New York State. Happy Tuesday. What are we choosing today? Whew, so much energy. So much stuff going on. Let's see who is awake at this time, who's awake at this hour, who is not able to sleep because you're going through a lot of stimulations. Nambara kusisha de betekena. Yaramoti shilambe daraba tikitun bella. Kisalong utisede kitososhinama. Tenta kukinebe. Kenduri bela. Techo kunibe. The bela de. Yes. Been guided to come on right now. So much energy is pulsating on the planet. And I've been going through some stuff for the past several days, you know. That's right. Let's take a walk. Let's take a little time if you can. Talk and check out our situation. Moving into full moon energies as well. Yes. Whew. Let's take deep breaths. Asilo shilo ko di bera pa sa shilam te kitre kitutsi de pataka de kitara ko to pira patako silam bakanime dilam buti bela ambo silam tashe kita ko chike na pataka ngida. Oh, let's take this walk. Come on. A long walk all around the block after dark at this time of the morning. Woo. Divination. Situation, relaxation. We are elevating, indeed, elevating. A lot of upgrades are happening right now, and that's what I am hearing. That's what I've been noticing, and that's what I've been experiencing, and that's what I'm observing. Upgrades. So, at the moment, what I have been experiencing is cramping in my uterus, and I also had swelling in my feet earlier in the week. What else? I've also had like my ears had been affected as well for the past 2 days. So I've been feeling like I can't hear anything in my left ear. So it's like I felt like on one ear I don't feel anything, and it felt like when you're driving up a mountain, and then on the other side of my ear I could hear a little bit. So I know something was also happening with my ears. What else again? Swelling of my feet, enormous amount of swelling, and my ankles were swollen, my legs were swollen. What else? Terrible insomnia. Well, let me not label it as terrible. Insomnia like crazy. So I had tingling in my left foot, ear pulsating, couldn't hear anything, felt like it was clogged. Tingling in my left foot. I felt like I couldn't sleep. I have been having insomnia, and then there's moments when I feel like I do want to sleep. And then it's like I want to sleep and I don't want to sleep. So it's like I'm in between all of this energy, all of this pulsation. That's what I've been feeling. And it's like I had to also process through anger that, stemmed from the ancestors and slavery time frame, and feeling as if I had been really suppressing that anger that pulsates through all of my ancestors, that passes through all the lineages, going back into time and time and time, because there are souls that are still roaming the earth that have not left. And even as I'm speaking to you, I'm just feeling pulsation all into the center of my head. And even though it may appear as if we're also going through another rebirth of ourselves, for those who are feeling these symptoms that I'm talking about, I'm hearing that we're also being upgraded through all the different chakra points. So the womb space, the foot, the ears. You might feel some symptomatic things with your throat, your head pulsating, not being able to sleep, having a change in your sleeping patterns and also eating patterns. Also feeling very spacey and spaced out. It's like I feel like I'm on a spiritual high. And then even as I'm talking to you right now, my right knee is starting to hurt me. And then I felt shoulder pain yesterday. So, one of the things I heard Spirit saying with all of this is that I know that some of you might feel like, oh, I got to get back to work. I got to work. I got to take care of the bills. I have all these things to take care of. And I said, I don't think there's too much people that really know and understand. This is work. This is work. As far as I know, I had not been able to function the way I used to, as far as the time I would normally get up during the daytime, the time that I think I would have been able to do the other work that I do, or any other work that I normally would do, even readings, okay? Everything's changing around me. Everything is changing around me drastically. And so I heard Spirit say, you do remember that this is work too. And I was like, you know what? I forgot. What I have had to go through and experience for the past several days is spiritual work. Spiritual work. And I can't put a monetary value on it. So the only thing I can put on it is that I know that Spirit is taking care of things, taking care of me. Everything is in divine order. Everything is moving along the way it is supposed to. And, I feel like as if I'm becoming a giant human machine in a different way. I've been connecting to messages coming in galactically. I've also been connecting to messages coming earthly. There are things that are coming up through from the surface of the earth. I've also had to bring myself into realignment of where I am in what are the things that I've still had to shift through within myself and my ancestors. The majority of people that exist on the planet are colored and indigenous people. And so when I think of all the people that have been left behind, whether they're on the other side or they're still here roaming the earth in another form, or when I say in another form, I mean that they may have left out of their bodies, but their soul, their spirit is still here, still here. I think about the cries of the ancestors, my ancestors, your ancestors, all of them that have felt the unbalance and the things that have not been addressed, that people still turn away their faces and don't want to look at it. And I was one of them. Oh yeah. And how I was turning away is that whenever I was hearing something on the news, or not on the news because I don't watch the news, but if I get, hear something or I see something posted or whatever to do with another black man killed, or, they want to get rid of whatever people who proclaim illegally don't belong in this country or whatever. And then I start to feel riled up inside, because as far as I'm concerned, nobody owns anything on any land whatsoever. And human beings tend to think that the physical things that exist on the earth, that they're going to take it with them when they leave out of the shell of this body. And the sad part is that the things that have continuously been unresolved on the earth, I don't think people are still realizing that if you do not shift and take responsibility to remember why you're here, to shift the thought processes and what's existed and what's within your DNA from this timeline that is still circling around in past timelines, that's still existing now, that's still present and past, then the new earth would not come into its formation. And the new earth is ascending out of all of this, whether you like it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you choose to accept it or not. Okay? So, bottom line is for things to come into balance, and what's shifting is what exists within the enslavement, whether it comes in its disguise and changed its form from how it was in the past, because people think that slavery is when you see somebody bound in chains and they're being whipped on the back or chopped on their feet, you know, or you're locked up in the dungeon and you can't leave anywhere. The funny thing is that there's so much more people walking around still feeling trapped inside, trapped within their bodies, trapped in their thought process, their beliefs, their attachments, codependencies, you know, what they feel they want to measure as far as the physical things that they attain in the world, you see? And that is still a part of your enslavement, because there's always the attachment that humans place on the physical things first and not the spiritual things as well. It's both. And so the eyes want to understand and to see what exists and what's in form to feel comfortable. And then if it's taken away, then here comes the control in trying to take it back. To try to take back what is in the physical realm, the physical world, because the illusion is it's mine, it's all mine. And you see, the sad part is that the people who existed in past timelines that's still running the program right now are still in their enslavement. They're still enslaved, you see? And that enslavement itself has continued to play itself out, where they had their land, they had their places that was given to them from God, from Source Creator. See? And the illusion is, let me take what's not mine, and then I'm going to trick the people, take it back, let them pay for it, and slave back for it. In the meantime, I'm still not doing that anyway, because I want you to believe the illusion that it's still theirs. Just like when they wrote Christopher Columbus discovered something, all these places, when it was already there in existence. You see the illusions. Because, see, this is what, how do I say this? This is what's happening in terms of all these retrogrades that are happening right now on the planet. Just trying to remember my thought. Because all of it deals with something that's within the subconscious mind. What's in the subconscious mind? And so the illusion is created over and over again that moves into a system that makes you believe you have something and that someone else has to be controlled over you. And in order for you to get it back, you have to do something to get it back. The system itself is not going to say to you, rise to your divinity, rise to your power. The system is going to make you believe that in order for you to get it back, you have to enslave yourself. They're not going to use the words enslave. See? So anyway, I had to work through, still am, how angry I felt. The anger that is within me and my ancestors, that we have been taught to suppress it. And it was put into religion to turn the other cheek and pray for your enemies. Understand where they're coming from. Blend and move with them with how things are meant to be, and don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Keep it quiet now. Don't say anything further. You're too loud. You're too this, you're too that. All these little checklists. And then we don't realize how the programming goes so deep, and it passes on from the next generation to the next generation to the next generation to the next generation. And did I say the next generation? Oh yeah. So, you know, where I'm heading with all of this is that I realize how I, again, you know, as Aquarius, you know, everybody's one, you know, the unification field, that unity consciousness. But not everyone is on that same level of consciousness. I no longer choose to wait on anyone on what they want to understand and believe and however, because that programming in place is, oh, let everyone be where they're at. And then you say to yourself, well, if I'm seeing something that's not changing because something's repeating itself over and over again, and then I'm going to look at that person and say, oh, they're not awakened yet. They're not awakened enough. I've got to take her time for them to become awakened. Where do we draw the line here? Where do we draw the line? Well, I tell you this. I'm going to stay in my lane, like I always say. But guess what I wasn't being conscious and aware of? Because I was so trapped again in that loop, is that I wasn't speaking up enough. I wasn't getting myself as involved as I thought that I was, because I just felt like, oh, it'll resolve itself. It'll take care of itself. I'm just going to let the universe take care of it. But why do you think we're here? What do you think physical means? Physical means something is in motion and action and taking place, and we're experiencing and we're seeing it and feeling it at the same time. So within my DNA, there's something called passive aggressive. If you talk too loud and say too much, you're angry. If you're passionate, don't be too passionate, okay? And then things become unbalanced. It continues to be unbalanced, and then the programming comes back in again, whether it comes from the spiritual aspect or the religious aspect. Don't do that, because, you're supposed to, again, pray for all of this and turn the other cheek, and go meditate on it. See? Keep the peace. Keep quiet. Suck it up like a sucky puppy is what I call it. But you know what happened with that? You know what happens with that? Everybody begins to move in that space of holding back and being in that passiveness, and nothing still changes. And you don't realize, the fear of speaking up, the fear of expressing your passion, and the righteous anger. You see? The righteous anger. Because as far as what I can see, spiritually and physically, is that every single person that has been oppressed, felt oppressed, killed, murdered for being who they are, being Black, being Mexican, being African, Indian, Asian, whatever the category is, they're my children, they're my husband, they're my sons, they're my lovers, they're everything to me, because we're all connected in that way. So what if we switch places? But guess what? This is the end. Class is dismissed. I have all these different hashtags now. Class is dismissed. This is the end. Game over. End game. And the end game means that it's time to go more than above and beyond. Okay? So I'm going to tell you something real life that happened through me several days ago. So anyway, I had to go to CVS just a few days ago to get some bath stuff that I wanted for myself, because I can't get stuff at the stores. I got to juggle between which store have this, which one have that. And at least that CVS open 24 hours a day, right in Suffern, New York, not far from where I live. And so me going there with my happy-go-lucky self to go look for my bath stuff, and I brought my daughter with me to go inside. So anyway, I go inside and I'm looking and I'm walking up and down the aisle. And I've been there several times before, walking up and down the aisle. And I was determined I was going to find. So I'm asking her to help me to look for it. And she's like, oh, they don't have it. I was like, yes, they do. So I got some other nail things I wanted to get and all that stuff. So finally, when I finally found it, because I was going up and down the aisle and I was all happy, and I said, yo, I found it. And I called out to Charlize and I said, oh, see, I told you I was going to find it. So I was laughing at her and everything. I go up to the line to go to pay for my stuff. And she said on her breath, yeah, you're busy laughing at me, but you don't know the white. And I was like, what are you talking about? The white what? So immediately I tuned into her. I knew she was going to say something to do with a white man or a white something, but she didn't finish the sentence. So I went outside and I said to her, I said, well, what is it that you saw? Tell me what you saw. because I was already riled up from before then anyway, because of other things that I sense with, I don't know, it's like the consciousness of the planet and people and how they interact and how they respond with things. It's incredible. You know, it's like the more you go through shifts and layers, the more you see things that is so ridiculous, so nonsensical. And it's like, what, we just keep looking at it and saying it's okay and don't dare say anything, you know? No, we must speak up and say things so that way the energy is cleared. Otherwise, the energy either stays there stagnant or it repeats itself in another cycle through another person. You see? So energetic upgrades and the DNA shifts happens through something that you physically do or physically speak up, as well as energetically shift within yourself. So when I asked Charlize, what did she see? She didn't want to say anything. She went in the car door and she slammed the car door and everything. And I said, oh, what the fuck you slammed the car door for? I said, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I ain't moving nowhere. So I took my black ass and I stood up by the lamp outside and I wasn't going anywhere until she first apologized. And then she told me what she was going to say. So then she finally came out the car and she said, oh, well, I know you're mad because you want to hear what I was going to say. I said, well, I'm not mad over it. I said, I'm being very specific and clear. What is it that you heard or what happened? Because obviously it's very significant for me to know. So then she told me that while I was there making fun and laughing, this white man was following me around the store. I was like, really? So I was like, well, why didn't you say something? She didn't say anything to me. So I told her, I said, see, now that is within the DNA again. When things happen and we don't say anything, and then the energy goes away and it continues perpetuating with how we want to judge and treat people just because of wealth privileges and white privileges or whatever the privileges is, right? Because somebody wants to look at me and follow me up around as if to think as if I'm going to do something just because of the color of my skin, you see? Or because you see two black females. So I've never experienced racism in my life, but I also observed the fact that I never experienced racism. I did not sense that was occurring or happening through me with this man following me up and down, right? This was just on Sunday. Okay, this is just Sunday. Today's Tuesday. And so she says to me, my daughter, she says, well, you're so busy laughing, you didn't notice. And, you know, you should have been able to tell that he was funny. I said, I'm not worried about who are following me. Me, I mind my business, forget what me, I forget. I'm come out of the store, you see? And I said, if you had said something, I definitely would have addressed it, you see? And then to make it even better, he didn't even work in the goddamn store, okay? So when I drove off and everything, I was cussing like a sailor. Yes, I was. If you think I cuss now, boy, was I cussing with that. You see, because first of all, that man has already gone about his business. When he done was trying to scope me out, okay? And everything because I was walking up and down minding my business, you see? And I said to her, if you had said something, there may have been a different outcome to the energy itself and how it perpetuates time after time with many of our people that take in and accept things that happen and turn the other way and turn the other cheek. That's that saying coming from biblical stuff, whatever the hell it comes from. Turn the other cheek. Don't say anything. We don't want to rile things up now. We don't want to ruffle any feathers. We want to keep everything in this perfect order the way it is. But guess what? Everything is getting ruffled up. Everything is getting dismantled. Everything is being destroyed and recreated again, including the DNA within your consciousness. So we're going through the physical breaking down, the energetic breaking down, the mental breakdown, the emotional breakdown. And this is a test that you have put yourself to where and how far you're going to take it. There's no more pussyfooting around what's happening right now. You see? So all the symptoms that was happening, and one of the things that the more I tried to resist being angry is the more the anger was. So I just let the anger just keep flowing with me. And I'm okay with it. I'm all right. It's natural for me to be angry, you see, because I look at it again in observation with, and believe me, when I say nothing misses me, nothing misses me with anything, with anyone, you know, the fly could have pitched back over there, so somehow my higher self is going to show me what's going on. And so I told her, I said, we got to come back into that oomph, okay? When that oomph comes right into the solar plexus, that means that you're coming within that power within yourself. And when you say enough is enough, something is going to change, something is going to stop. And this is where that warrior energy comes from within. And it's too often and too long it has been that many of our colored folks and colored people have been mistreated, dishonored, disrespected. So I still called up the store. Yes, I did. And I said to the guy, I said, may I speak to the manager? And the manager wasn't there. And I said, well, are you the guy that is behind the counter that took the money from me? Because the guy behind the counter, he's always respectful, always nice to me. He always says good night. I said, you be well, everything. That's me. That's the type of person that I am. How you see me, that's how I am in person, just the same. I treat everyone with dignity, honor, and respect. Okay? But again, I didn't notice what was going on because it wasn't for me to have that experience. But my daughter was to have the experience of witnessing the singling out of me being in the store. And then her passiveness also created another timeline of when we allow things to keep going because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or because somebody else is uncomfortable. Greetings, Kelly. Or somebody else is uncomfortable because they don't want to ruffle the feathers, you see? And so we continue on and on and on as if it's going to go away. And when I feel into everything that has been created with the miseducations, the misappropriations, the way that people have been treated and not in an energy of everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, I cannot and will not tolerate it any longer. And I realized the scales for me were so unbalanced because I want to see everybody in such a beautiful light, you know? And I had to witness that. And when I came home, I discussed it with all my children. I discussed it with all my kids. And I asked Brian, I said, would you have done? He said, no, mommy, I would have told you that he was. And I said, okay. And I'm not looking at it as a male-female thing. I'm looking at it again as the energy that is within each soul, within each person, as to how are you responding to what you are seeing and hearing. So the energy is shifted and you're shifting the DNA and shifting the cycles that have been looped over and over and over again that goes back generations. So if you are not aware of this, pay attention now. Pay attention. Pay very close attention. You see, because right now, it really is a spiritual warfare. I never thought I would admit to that, but there really is a spiritual warfare going on. It really is light versus dark. And the thing is, there's two different types of darkness, because of course there's those beings that use the word dark for people to think it's something evil. Stay away from this. Oh, don't trust this. Don't look at that. Oh, this is out to get you. The boogeyman, this, all that stuff. See? So that way, if you're not conscious, it takes you off path. You see? And puts you into a fear-based programming continuously, and you loop into it some more, and then you stay stuck. You see? So, but if you ignore it, it perpetuates. And then when it perpetuates, you have to ask yourself, if something has been offending me, affected my family or someone that I know, and it's still in connection somehow, what are you going to do to assist with it changing? Because I'm telling you, they show me over and over and over again that we are starting anew. A-N-E-W, not a space N-E-W, anew. Reborn in spirit, connecting to source creator, releasing everything, every structure of anything that has ever existed, that everything is returned back to Mother Earth and its inhabitants, and where everything had existed when there was peace, where there was unity in everything, okay? Not unity in someone else that is holding within their heart, their mind, that you don't belong here, or this is all mine in my territory. Nobody don't own nowhere, no lands. I don't care how many deeds you have. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. You can be in and out of here in a snap. Okay? And Mother Earth is not tolerating that if you think that you own anything. If you're in that cycle of feeling as if you're entitled, I feel that there's more that person is going to end up breaking down, and they're going to be facing some things within themselves they've never ever seen before. And so if that energy is within you of either enslaving someone, feeling enslaved, or if you know of anyone in your family that's enslaved someone, and remember again, the enslavement runs like a program that makes you think like, oh, I don't have that person in chains. You know, if you have someone working for you, excuse me, how are you treating them? You know, how are you treating them? Do you treat them like a subservient, or do you treat them like as if they should be honored just like you? You know what I mean? Is there an exchange of energy between you and that person? Do you look at them indignant because if they're Mexican or black or Indonesian or something, that they're beneath you because of the color of their skin, even if they work for you? Like, go deeper and deeper, because it is not coming into the new earth. It's not at all. And what's been so programmed within my culture, okay, and all of the ancestors, is being enslaved, and they never spoke up. They didn't speak their voice, they didn't speak their minds, because they were punished, chopped up, or something, separated from their families, tortured, maimed, forced to have to witness mothers having sexual relations with their children so they can procreate and create more, which they categorize as species and stuff. And we had to face the facts of what happened before, and think about the billions and billions of billions of souls that have been stuck on the earth, feeling the pain and the anger. That's what I've had to be processing within the past several days, besides my twin. Okay? Besides my twin. And we cannot run away from it. Period. Can't turn around and say, oh, it'll go away. Oh, it'll all go away. No, it's not. Not like that. It's not as simple as that. You see? And, you know, what was interesting is I love when Spirit brings messages to me so organically, you know, and then it just all lines up and lines up. And I was watching, first I was watching, oh my gosh, this movie with Martin Lawrence when he was in the kingdom, and he fell in the water, and he ended up in a timeline in the 1700 or 1600, whatever the hell time, I can't remember the name of it. It was a hilarious movie, because every time I watch a movie again, another time, I get another layer of something else and something else. And when he was in that, he was teaching them primitive principles of how he spoke up. He wanted to get away from that kingdom and how they were treating people, because they were so ignorant back then. Ignorant. They chop off people's heads. That's what happened. They chop off people's heads, and conniving and take away over kingdoms and queendoms and all that stuff. And many, 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 many kings and queens have been held and trapped in this energy, this energetic energy of being disempowered, separated from their divine masculine and divine feminine. And that's the reason why there have been so much high divorce rates, children in multiple relationships, discord between males and females, discords in families, and this one is out to get this one, and all of it goes on both sides, because one is about feeling disempowered and not stepping into your power, and then the ones who are also taking advantage and teaching as if it's okay to just go around mixing up with other people, and you don't know that you're taking that energy with you. And it's also things that is handed down from generation, even without saying the words, because it's in the genetic energy. It's in the DNA of each soul. You see, it's in the DNA. So even though people say, oh, children are taught to be racist, no, actually they're not. There are some children that become racist because it's in the DNA as well. Face the facts. It's true. It is true. It's everybody's business to what happens now. You see, and I'm not saying to go out there and go save the world. All I'm saying is at the moment that you know something is happening in your world, say something and do something. That's what's shifting things right now. So when I called the CVS pharmacy, because I wanted to drive back, but I was like, nah, because Damon was like, oh, I got to go to work next day or whatever. And I called him up and I said, hello. I said, I was just in the store a while ago and I just bought a whole bunch of stuff. I said, well, I want to tell you something. I said, I had the experience of my daughter telling me that a white man was following me around. I said, you said bye to me and you were nice to me and everything like that and cordial. And he wasn't being fake either, because I've always gone to him to have my stuff rung up. I told him, I said, I don't appreciate anybody following me around, okay, and looking at me as if to say I'm trying to steal anything. I have never, ever had that experience before. I said, I didn't see it for myself, but my daughter saw it, okay? And I said, first of all, I deserve to be respected and honored, okay? No matter what. No matter what. And that's what I'm talking about, that if you are experiencing something similar or anything that makes you feel disempowered or makes you feel like as if you don't count, that's when you do something and say something. You see what I'm saying? If you get something circulating, sign this petition because so-and-so, sign the motherfucking petition. Sign it. Because it's the collective energy of what shifts is what's making the change. You see? Don't let it be that another black man or another Mexican or whatever race, you see what I'm saying, of anything that happens, of someone being mistreated, that's when I feel so, let's go do a rally, let's go let's go pray and meditate and hope that something good comes out of this. No, fuck that. Okay? Because it's in that energy again, because nothing happened. I even had a past life memory of when I existed as a white woman in Massachusetts, and I was assisting for a lot of slaves that needed somewhere to stay safely. Okay? I remembered. I sure did. And it was confirmed through Archangel Gabriel. How you like them apples, huh? And I said, dang it, it's in me to always want to save the people who are mistreated. That's just in my DNA. That's why I knew I was with Harriet Tubman. That's why I knew I was with, what's her name from France? I forgot her name, Joan of Arc. And I said, what is it about her that I knew? Because she had a passion and she was always tuning in to Source Creator, and she was branded and burned at the stake because of what she knew was right. You see? What she knew was right. And she fought to the very end and did not change her tune to what she knew was right. You see? And it's a fact. It's a fact. And so we say, how many timelines are we going to still stay stuck in everything that's occurred over and over again? And then the mind can also, create these illusions and say, oh, well, the person's changed and it's all changing. Yes, it is. Because we're waiting for someone else to do it. Or we're waiting for someone else to say, okay, it's over now. And then, so it takes you away from the responsibility of not participating in that change. So if you're still holding back on expressing what you know is right for the balance on the earth, I'm talking about the balance now, the balance, do it and stop holding yourself back. The dark forces don't give a fuck and say, oh, let me help you so that we can still stay on board here. No. And dark forces still is energy that shows up through physical people that are walking around in disguise, okay? I call them the grays also. They're gray. They're on two different sides. And 1 minute they'll show like their presence is so wonderful and they'll dress like you, look like you, smile like you. They'll be the same race as you, okay? And still there's this underlying sneaky way that they don't want to lose control of themselves. And the reason why so many of our people give in so much of their power, give it away, I should say, is because they're not remembering themselves and remembering their true God essence. I'll never forget when I went to the supermarket. It was sometime towards the end of last year, and this woman came up to me. She wanted to talk to me about her religion thing, whatever. And anybody who come up to me with a religion thing, right away my spirit get cross. Seriously, my spirit just get cross. I'm like, block in my energy fields. Block. I'll talk to you, but hey, girl, man, you can't come at me with anything. Nope. So she started talking, and she's like, oh, my church talks just like you, whatever. So I said, okay. I said, let me listen. Spirit said, okay, listen what you have to say. Because I already knew where it was going to head. I knew where the end point was going to come. So I told her, I said, does your church teach about the fact that you are the microcosmic aspect of God? Or does it teach that you are only connected to to God where someone else tells you who you are and what you're supposed to do? Because there's something that is like a fine line with this, you know what I mean? And only those who truly know understand what it means to become yourself and to embody that part of yourself. And that means that you're able to differentiate what's real and what is an illusion. You see? Really opening up that third eye and having everything connect through all of your chakras, and that anything else that goes against what you know does not feel right, that means you bust through that motherfucker. Okay? You bust through it and you keep it rolling. So when she said, oh, well, that's the reason why things had ended not well for many of us on the earth, because we were proclaiming that we were gods. And I said, now there you go. That's the issue. I said, I will not tell you what you or whatever you feel that you want to believe in, but any structure, I don't care if it's it could be clothed like a government. It could be clothed like a church. It could be clothed like the education. It could have on all these nice clothes. If it is anything that is not treating others the same, okay? If it is disempowering the female, if it is acting like as if children don't have a thought of their own as well and honoring them too, if it teaches about anything to do with I have more than you, so too bad, I'm not for it. It goes against the natural principles and the natural laws of how nature produces, and it gives and gives. Mother Earth, she gives and gives and gives. And Mother Earth is not saying, oh, you're not going to get it because you're bad, and you're not going to get it because no. You see? And being open to receive and to know as you're receiving that you're also giving, and that you're also allowing yourself to have that understanding and apply that wisdom to what it means for this ascension time. And then we're like leveling up. Leveling up is what Spirit says. Like really leveling up. Really leveling up. You see? Becoming resourceful. It'll call it innovative. And that you're not allowing anything or anyone to stop the process or to stop. I mean, nothing can stop the process anyway. Nothing can stop the process, because you see, everything is still accelerating, whether you like it or not, whether you think you're doing something or not, because the energy is so pulsating. It's penetrating. It's penetrating. And all I know is that everything that has happened to do with the ancestors for centuries, they too are working with us towards that freedom, and what's breaking those old chains and what has kept us bounded, what has kept us apart, okay? In all of that union space, because the union space is everything that we are to have in blessings. So everything that is planned out there for what we are not to receive, there's no stopping it. I had one of my soul sisters send me a video not too long ago, and I get a lot of beautiful souls that send me videos and stuff. And, you know, if I didn't get to you, please understand I'm doing the best that I can, because I'm just dealing with so much energy that I'm having to process. And I got to process through things with my children. I got to process things. I mean, it's overwhelming at times for me. And it's been overwhelming for the past few days. And the amount of pulsation I've been feeling in my uterus, my legs, my ears was popping. I was feeling like I couldn't hear nothing over here. And it felt so spacey and I felt disoriented. And I still had to keep it rolling. Then I can't sleep. Then I want to sleep. And so she sent me this video. And it was just published today or yesterday. Now it's yesterday. And it was titled coming from the History Channel. And it had to do with the end times. And it had to do with the number 7. And I was like, oh gosh, this is so interesting. So when I listened to it, the first thing they talk about is the fact that it is talking about what was written in the book of Revelations and what's happening now. But they were referring to more things that were happening to do with other viruses and stuff. But I can feel that someone compiled this video because obviously this is happening now because we're in the end times. This is the end times. Okay. It's not where the earth is going to be destroyed and all the inhabitants are going to be completely gone. That's not what end times is. End times is the end of the old ways of thinking, living, how we relate to one another, relationships, okay? How we govern ourselves. I had dreams several years ago before I met everybody or knew anyone that I'm connected to now, that there will be no more government. No more government. We are the ones that are planting and creating the resources for everything that we are creating together for this new earth. You see? And it's time to get off the pot, or you piss on the pot, whatever the word what they use. And so what was interesting was how the movie started. Oh my God. The video started out with talking about the 7 seals. And I had a conversation with both Tavan and Andrea. This was when I was on the plantation. I believe it was sometime in 2000, I think it was in early 2019. It could have been sometime in 2019. And I went into a trance and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what this is in scriptures, but I'm just hearing the 7 seals are broken. That's what I said. And I have the recording. Because I recorded this person, I recorded this conversation. Okay. And when I recorded the conversation and Andrea was helping me, she was looking it up in the scriptures about the 7 seals. And when they talk about the 7 seals, they were talking about the horses, and I was seeing a lot of horses. I was seeing everything that was written. And I only read some parts of the book of Revelation growing up for a little bit. And I felt like I can't read this because it just feels like such a doomsday, and it felt so negative and this and fear-based and all that stuff. But there is still some truths in some of the stuff that was written in it. So I use intelligence, divine intelligence, to break the code. And so when it mentions the 144,000, it's not 144,000 people. It's 144,000 chakras, 144,000 aspect of self. Okay? And those who are embodying the 144,000 crystalline codes connected to the Christ consciousness. So in that video, and almost every video that's been coming to me, is talking about the dark matter. But of course, there's some people that think I'm talking about evil, or is this only to do with black people? But black people do contain the dark matter, because that's why some people were born dark, But it doesn't mean that they're dark-minded, but then there are some who are dark-minded. Ooh, does that sound confusing? You can just imagine what it was like for me when I had to break it down talking to spirit, you see? And the more you ascend in consciousness, the more you will know and realize that everything moves in a spectrum. Always, there's a spectrum. It's multidimensionally, multifaceted, many meanings, many mansions, many principles, many types and elements of this energy and the knowledge. Because source creator God is knowledge. It's all knowledge. And so it's to understand the principles of that knowledge and the darkness with the light and what it means for you, and that you ascend to that level of wisdom and understanding and knowing what it means for you at this present time, what it means for your union stage at this present time. You see, at this present time. And so when the video mentions, I'm going to share it on my community tab, Okay, so all of it, most of it, I kind of like resonate with it, except the part to do with the Satan and this, because I just don't get into all that stuff. That's just not in my DNA. I left that motherfucker a long time ago. Okay, thanks to Neil Donald Walsh. That's right, because you know, devil means lived. That's right. And so they mentioned the 777 and the 7 seals. They said that Yeshua was going to break the 7 seals. I remembered myself and knew that I was on the planet before Yeshua was. Oh my God, Yeshua was. Even that too, even the words that don't come out straight. And I was like, wow. I said, whatever date that was, the 7 seals are broken. I said it out of my mouth just like that. I said that twins create the apocalypse. We create the apocalypse. Oh my gosh, see the word I can't come out. We create the apocalypse. And not many of us may remember that completely. You see? Because of what's necessary, what is that cataclysmic element of what's breaking down. And so we're going through final stages, okay? And the final stages doesn't mean it's compiled into one day. They keep showing me 2022, okay? I'm not saying 2022 is when something else begins. They're making me feel like we're in a phase of what's happening now up until 2022, you see? And so when they mention the 7s, what have I said before? I said, the soul tribe over here is number 7. Have you been seeing 7s? 717, 777, 707, or just 7? 7s and 7s, or anything that adds up to 7s, because it's a significant number. The 7 represents the end times. That's what the video said. But 7, as far as I knew, is God's number. It's God's principle's number. It is also the number that represents perfection. Perfection, okay? You would think that it would be number 9 or maybe 10, but no. I was always shown 7 is perfection. What was written in many scrolls and books was that Yeshua was number 7. I believe Enoch, that was written in scriptures, is number 7. They also have it out there that Moses, also Akhenaten, is number 7. 7. See? So the number itself and the sequences are becoming unlocked, okay? And it brings on the vibration of whatever shifting. Each time something is happening through you in what you do physically, what you also shift energetically is unlocking more keys and codes to the ascension, not only of yourself, if you are connected to someone else as well, as far as a twin soul path, as well as the collective energy around you with whoever is around you. So even though I didn't see the man that was following me around, it was the energy that was following me around where I did not get to speak up. I didn't speak up. I didn't say anything. I just let it go. I was like, oh, okay. I just want to stay happy. I don't want to ruffle any feathers or been in a space of, it'll resolve itself, and I don't have to think about it because this was just something in passing. No, because you see, there's many little other energies of people that are in that racism, hatredism, separation, I have more than you, I'm better than you type of frequency, okay? Whatever the case may be, with any type of judgment, it's still around. It's still walking around. It's not just you alone that is having to shift it. It's not because you did anything why it is occurring. Remember that there are energies of souls that have transcended before you, that carry that DNA, that carry those thought patterns and behaviors and letting things go and continuing on and on and on. Remember, we've incarnated so many lifetimes over and over again. And those same timelines are still running in the background and the foreground, okay? Because this is Atlantis. Welcome back to Atlantis. Atlantis never left. It never left. It's still here. It's still here, okay? It had been like what they call like a, I don't even feel like it was an experimentation, so to speak, deeper than the fact that I feel that we incarnated at a time where we were bringing in our soul expressions in the physical realm. And face it, whatever exists in the human element existed in the energetic element. This spiritual warfare goes beyond what you see happening with the little people here in this physical world, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're almost like the Lilliputians. There's a reason why many of us had incarnated as giants. I had a dream last week, and I was around mostly Black people. My ex-husband was in the dream, and he was introducing me to a wife in the dream, because when I think of it or think back into it, it really was a timeline I was in with him, but it was really my twin, because he is a version of my twin in that dream, showing up as something that existed between us, okay? And it was in my subconscious memory of that timeline. And so he was giving me honor in the dream. I wasn't feeling any feeling of, oh my God, he's with someone else. It wasn't even like that. And so what I noticed in the dream was that the charge between me and him was alchemized. It felt peaceful. It felt like I was honored and all of that. But as I walked along the way, I saw this huge body of water, like a lake or something. And there were these big, giant crocodiles. And they started swallowing up some of the people in the dream. So I felt like as if I was in a timeline of when we were giants, and it was very primitive. It was very primitive. And I thought about all those timelines of when people are warned and given information to change, or to make a change, or to do something, or to listen, and they didn't. And then they became what? Swallowed up, taken away, whatever the case may be, whether it's metaphysical, physical, metaphorical, either way. How many times can the earth swallow up, destroy, whatever the case may be? But the thing is, what's so unique about this is that anything that is coming in as a destruction is happening internally as well. You're going to feel it in your body. So it's not just externally. It's not just externally. You see, and it's to get you to pay attention, to really, really, really pay attention. Okay, it's almost like being on a watch clock or a watchtower. We don't know what to expect the next day when it comes to this ascension path. Okay, and I'm telling you, it's almost like I felt like I couldn't even control, like I said, I couldn't control the anger. I couldn't control the symptoms I was having in my body. I had to let it just keep moving through and coming through. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm not the only one that is experiencing this. I started to feel hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of ancestors around me. And they were all processing their emotions of how they were feeling around me and through me. Okay, and I could feel, and you know what? The more I spoke on it, when I was speaking to Tevon last night, or early this morning, I should say, for hours and hours, and every time I said to him, okay, I gotta go to sleep now, then something more was coming through and coming through and coming through. And the things that we had realized and said that we can't be passive about it, that we must speak forward, that we even spoke about, when I mentioned to him about the mother energy, that if you feel someone in your family is not honorable, you do not have to give that honor to that person. You can still love someone, but it doesn't mean that you have to associate with them or attach to them. Because what happens is you start to hold this energy within you as if you're obligated, and you feel bad that you want to move forward, but you can't, because you feel you have to honor that person, or you have to follow the regimen of Mother's Day, or Father's Day, or any other holiday that's been created by man. And we are being forced by spirit to detach and to learn to let go and to learn to be in awareness and pay attention more than you have ever before. More than you've ever before. You see? Because it's not serving the planet, it's not serving you, it's not serving your union. Because it's not just about coming into a union space. And remember, please know that the union space is everything that comes together. Everything. I'm sure many of us are tired of things being taken from us, tired of feeling as if the more you make money is the more it's taken away. You know, people are even talking about the fact that even the money that the government wants to give to people, that is going to be coming back in taxes. Is that what you believe? Because let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you this right now. I already put it out there in spirit, and I shouted out through the car, through the rooftop outside. I said everything will be restored the way it is to be. Everything that has been taken is going to be returned. Everything that has been in deception is going to be revealed. Always, not sometimes, all times, in all ways. Anything, everything, and anything is in reverse. Reverse, 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 reverse. You see? And during the time of Atlantis, before Atlantis, okay? Because here's another exciting thing. When I was watching that video that Andrea sent to me, it mentions that, I think it was the sixth seal, I believe, was mentioning about a galactic being or alien species or something is going to invade the earth. Woo! Go figure. What did I say before? I said I can't wait until when the ship them start coming, they start to go. And they may not even come on the ship, because sometimes I had a dream and a vision where I saw them just coming out of the ship like Predator, and they just started just getting like a rope line and just climbing down and just coming on down. And I was so excited. I was like, yeah man, let them come. Oh yeah. So I don't feel it's gonna be a comet coming out the sky and all that stuff, because they talk about the angels are going to come and so on and so forth. So when it mentions the seventh seal, in the video they said they don't know what the seventh seal is. But I have an idea. I feel I know what the seventh seal is, because they already spoke about billions, not millions. Billions of people are going to be leaving the planet. I sure did say that. And they said that there's a plague that's going to come, a plague like never before. Remember now, the video was published yesterday, I should say, but it was recorded 4 months ago. So the things they're referring to do with the plague, and they're talking about all these different nations and all the locusts and stuff that come into play. You know, I did say that this is like the plagues of Egypt, right? The plagues of ancient Kemet. And so they said that there's one more seal, and they said, if anyone knows what that seventh seal is, they would love to know, because they don't know what it is. And I said, the seventh seal doesn't feel like a what? It feels like a whom's. It feels like a collectiveness there. And so I allowed Spirit to show me the way, and I was like, I said, why does it feel like the seventh seal has to do with the unification of twin souls who are here to recreate the earth and make it fucking happen? That's what I feel. I feel it's so strong in my soul, I don't even know what to say. But then again, I am saying it. I'm willing to bank on it, that it feels like it has to do with the unification of the twin pairs in a physical reunion space, and it creates an energy, a pulsation on the earth that it feels like a nuclear blast. You see? Because to me, it makes a lot of sense, because I've been seeing all the time the power that comes with the pairs, and why it would always look like an element and an energy of forces that have tried so hard to keep twins from not coming together, because of the power and what is happening on earth. Because this earth, Mother Earth herself, have been the ground for all those entities that were given or had taken over, or permission, whatever the story is behind that story, you see. And because the reign of terror, as they say, is over, it's the end, it's like that part of yourself that had not been able to come into alignment, that had not been able to decipher and to see the subliminal programs, is how you stay trapped, you see, and being in that enslavement of what you were taught and what has existed within your ancestors. And the more you set it free, and I use the word it loosely because it could be anything that you're still attached to, and it's nothing to feel bad about it. It's just, please be aware. Be aware of what it is that you may not want to look at and face, because that is the key to what is being unplugged and pulled away finally once and for all. You see, the wonderful eclipses are coming up in the next few months. And again, Spirit showed me that it's going to be affecting a lot of people in terms of their solar plexus. Okay, they keep showing me it's in this lower region of the body, and I feel like in and of itself, it feels like when something's out of control, it feels like something that could be tied to money or well-being, or something else that occurs that breaks down all the systematic things that exist within each soul, within each person, you see. And again, the more that one lets go, okay, breathe, let go, embrace the change, embrace what there is for you to let go of, and you be in awareness and detachment at the same time, and also being mindful of what is showing up in your reality to pay attention to, so that way you are moving forward, and you're moving forward and being able to release it, so it's no longer running in the background any longer. You see, so important, because everything else that starts on the new earth is where we start from zero energy, 0 point energy. See, because no matter how we look at it, everything that we are bringing into with that inner balance, if outside of you is still in some type of a chaotic element, then it's not in a complete balance. It's still around you. It's still something that we are having to bring it to light. You see, let that light pierce through it. And that means that if it's time to speak louder, do not be afraid to speak louder. If it's time to speak up, speak up. If it's time to say and do something, whatever it may be, do it. If you've been getting nudged and you're like, no, I don't feel I want to. No, I don't want anybody to know my business. No, this is your business, because it's that very same thing that is trying to show you what has kept you and your ancestors and everyone else around you trapped and enslaved. You see? And it can run very deep. Remember, this walk in and of itself means that people and other situations or whatever is going to walk away from you, is going to separate from you. Okay? And we cannot hold ourselves back because if someone else is not ready, or if someone else doesn't want to be bothered. So we're the ones that have to be bothered, because it's very far and few who really wants to get it, that really understands and know that even if all the videos are put out there with all the destruction on earth, we have and know the greater picture of what's happening. Because it's not about having panicking and fear and, paranoia and all these things. You see what I'm saying? It's just a matter of being able to decipher at the moment when it is presented to you, where am I going to take it now? If it's repeating again, what am I going to do differently now? Because I know that I'm creating a new earth, and that means that I'm taking a different approach. And it's not repeating over and over and over again. I mean, oh my God, my kids know me. I like to repeat things over and over again. Like, all right, fuck this shit. No more. And that means that you're coming from that raw, authentic space within you. Just like raw sugar cane. That's raw and real. You see? Because it's an expectation for you not to say anything or to do anything, that you just stay in the corner and just take it. All right? for someone else to make a decision for you, for someone else to tell you what they see, you know, in your future with someone, and they don't have the bigger picture. They don't have the blueprint, you see? And so many of my ancestors, again, have been suppressed, and they have not been able to explode and to let out how they have felt. You see, it becomes very dangerous when someone holds back their feelings and they do not express it, or they don't understand where it comes from. You see, because there's always a little teeny tiny part of you that knows already, and you kind of like put it on the back burner. You see, and expressing yourself can come in so many ways and forms. Again, it could be verbally, you could be writing a blog, you could be writing something. Express it, because every time you roar out the expression of what is with this, guess what? You break down more of that DNA. And that's a fact. You break down that old DNA that's running like an old broken down Cadillac, and it's time to step into the motherfucking Benz or the, I don't know what a top of the line car is right now. Okay? Top of the line. Top of the line. It is the nature of the beast to not want anything else to exist but itself, you see? And so it creates itself again through another person and another person and another person and another person, so it can survive off of that host. So it can continue to perpetuate in itself into having something outside of itself to adorn it and to make it feel good. You know what I mean? And it's to be able to recognize and know the difference, to know the difference, you see? To know the difference, to know what is real, what is bringing in that greater manifestation of yourself, your power, okay? Your unification, your union, everything that you've desired. Because what's the use of us creating the new earth and then we still have all that stuff going on still? Does that make sense? Absolutely not. And even the same video is also talking about all the other countries that are in chaos. And that's exactly what's going on right now. All the other countries are, everything just breaking down. They're trying to open up, they open up France, they open up this, and guess what? It's starting to show up in people again. Everything they want to be in control, and they want things to go back to normal. The more anyone wants to try to keep anything in normal, guess what? The more you resist is the more it persists. The more you still want to fit yourself in those little boxes of what society and that governmental system wants for you. If you want to go take that vaccination and or hydrochloroquine, I don't give a fuck what name they want to cover it up on, okay? Because that's all it is, another covering up of something else. Because as far as I'm concerned, I wasn't there in the lab. I didn't see the people they tested about no vaccination. So why the fuck me to go there to go be bothered with that? Are you kidding me? No. Again, intelligence. You see? Because each time those forces want to see how much further they can still go, because they're not completely gone. Don't let that fool you. They're not completely gone. Because anything that still brings in that element of manipulation, okay, and make you have to, that's where the Gemini thing comes in, you know. It's like you're seeing something that looks real, but then really what's happening is you might be having to tap into an imagination or something that may not necessarily be real, okay? And it's something else that's created to create another illusion. Because to take away the fact again that you naturally heal yourself. Do you know you have the power to heal yourself just by saying the word? But they don't want you to remember that power about yourself. So why would you engage in any conversations? Like, if you know that the power is within you with everything, why would you even think of or dream of even participating in associating with anything that's going to talk about you disempowering yourself? To go back to work and enslave yourself so they can take out more taxes, so that way they can still continue to be wealthy. Do you understand that the elements of cosmic mother and earthly mother is assisting you to recreate that which is to be given to you. So know when to use divine wisdom in what you apply for and what you get and what you receive. The more you're open to receiving, the more spirit will lead you to what you do next to know that you're being taken care of. So the only thing that we'll be a part of in that system in the meantime is what we receive, because we're still in the physical body, we still have physical needs. There isn't any other platform that is created as yet as far as food supply or banking or anything like that, but it's coming. It's coming. Stay present. Stay open. Stay open energetically and consciously, even though we're going through all the crazy symptoms. You see? Push on through and be in that awareness. You see? It's almost like having invisible antennas. Invisible antennas. And the more you embody that energy of I am, that I am, that I am in the consciousness of the I am presence, in knowing that I'm protected and guided, and therefore I apply divine wisdom in all ways and all times and all space continuum, and nothing and no one can or will bring harm to me by right of my consciousness. And when you say it that one time, you don't have to repeat it over and over again like you're begging. It's because you're in a knowing space. So that way now, when you embody that presence of that energy, anything else that tries to come into your reality, it cannot take form. It cannot take form. And that's why in past times between ourselves and our ancestors, and the time when you were the ancestor, but you're back as the ancestor that says, I'm gonna bust this motherfucker down. Okay, we're gonna tear it up now. This is the time for tearing it up. Okay? And if it means you gotta stomp your feet, if it means you gotta throw a stone, if it means that you gotta walk in the boldness, if you gotta put on some platform shoes, okay? If you have to rev it up, do that. Do that. Because they want you to be passive. They want you to stay in that safe zone, to stay safe. You see? That's the energies. Because sometimes, again, when someone starts to lose a grip of the power that they have, because the only power they had, I'm going to use the word had because I'm putting it in the past, because I want to put it present so it still exists, is that the fact that the power came from how many people they can manipulate. But the less you allow yourself to be manipulated, the less power them have. You see? And I can tell you that I can feel that more people are becoming empowered. But remember, it goes in stages. Because you're going to feel, that's not going to happen. And then something else may come along. And then you start to retreat a little bit. And it's okay because it goes in stages until you get to that point where you walk so boldly that nothing can come into your space. Because you see, that's why the man couldn't come up to me and couldn't come near me, because you see, that's why I didn't notice him following me in the store. Because trust me, if Sharon did ever see him, blood clot, said, what? The whole parking lot would have roared. You see? Trust me on that. It would have roared. Okay? And that's how much I've been roaring. And I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. You see? Because I don't play. I don't play anymore. And what's interesting is that I told my daughter when we got home, and I told her, I said, you're carrying a passive energy about you into thinking that it's okay not to say something. So when I said something to her, she started to get mad. And she says, you know what? And I said, there you go. That's what's necessary. To know when to come into that energy like that, because that's natural. It's natural to go into the blackness, okay? And when I say the blackness, I'm talking about the fierceness, the force, the energy. It is in the blackness that the power comes. Because when you think about it, the dark light has to push towards something so the light penetrates back to the dark and says, I see you. And the dark says, I see you too. And we're doing it together. But it's to recognize what aspect of dark are you dealing with? Do you recognize it? You see? Because you see, some of them will want to play tricks on you, and tricks are for kids. See? And I haven't eaten tricks in a long time. And I never ate tricks because the first one started too sweet for me anyway. You see? So when you are at that stage where you see in yourself in the dark as the dark and to how the dark light serves its purpose for you, that is when it becomes conscious. Because you see, the dark part is what's in the subconscious. And it's solidified. It's not necessarily seen. You see? Because if you look outside in the dark, you can't see anything unless the star is shining. You see? And no matter what, the stars are shining brightly all the time. The sun is still shining outside too, even though it's dark where I am. But if you are not moving in an awareness of it and making it and giving it power, then how can it work? You see? It has to pulsate. It has to penetrate. It has to come into a fierceness. You see? And so that fierceness itself is what had happened to many, many, many of our people. Many, many, many. You see? That's why I know, so when they come enough time, that's why I knew I left out of many lifetimes, probably not making it past the age of 30. Because I know I jumped out of this motherfucker plenty of times. You see? Oh yeah. Because I have this rebellious part of me. If you think, that's what the only thing my mother used to say. But she said, oh, you're so stubborn. You're so stubborn. You're so rebellious. I said, oh, well, if I wasn't like this, I wouldn't get things done. Because I can tell you this, all the things that I've ever manifested was not through passive energy. But sometimes there was some humility there. And sometimes you got to do it on the quiet too. But then sometimes I had to come with force. You see, I had to make it right. I had to make it right. I had to speak up. I had to say something. I had to do something because I no longer attach myself to the manipulating energy. Okay? It's just like I applied for, I'll give you another example because I want to give you real life examples so you know what I'm talking about. I got a letter in the mail. I had applied for PayPal credit and I got it, right? All of a sudden, and when I tried to pay for it the first time, the payment wouldn't go through. Ooh, 333 right now as I say this. And the payment wouldn't go through because there was an issue going on with PayPal. Because PayPal's so teeth anyway, and there's always some shit with PayPal, right? And so finally when the payment went through, they still kicked it back out as if they never got the money. All of a sudden, now me get letter about a week ago. Oh, we've closed your account because your PayPal rejected it how many times from back in January. Oh man, the bulldog come out at me now. I called them up and of course it was another country. I said, I want to speak to a manager. That's what I said. I said, please put through the manager. And she's like, okay, hold on a minute. She put through the manager, big top executive, whatever. And I said to him, oh, I'm calling because I get this letter that my account is closed. Oh, well, screen because your account had been rejected and stuff like that and whatever. So that's what I said. Let me tell you something. I said, first of all, PayPal credit is linked to PayPal. And when it didn't go through, it's because that had to do with PayPal. It didn't have to do with me. So you better make sure you put on back my account or I'm going to file something and report your asses. Okay? Plain and simple. It didn't even take him 2 seconds. And he clicked the button and he put on back my account. Okay? That's it. And when I said it to him, I was not quiet. I wasn't cursing, but I was forceful because it was that energy that came through that man that represent the company, even though he didn't talk yet because he didn't have to talk because it was that energy. Oh, I do whatever I want to do with you and I'm going to make you feel disempowered because you don't deserve to have it. And even though it's my mistake, I'm going to make it look like it's your mistake so you don't have any buying power or you don't have any power whatsoever with anything. That is how the energy works. Sometimes I know it's not as easy to look past it when you're looking at a physical person. But I want you to understand that the energy is so subtle in how you're manipulated that it just comes in as a friendly little ghost. Like Casper says, oh, I love you so much. I just want to do anything to help you. I don't want you to think that I don't care. I do. Just take a little sip. You'll feel better. Okay? And you feel better and you're like, oh gosh, they really do mean me well. Oh, that's so nice. That's so lovely. And then what happens? You just wait a little bit and you start to see how the manipulation starts to unfold. You're being told what to do. You're being, oh, you didn't read the fine print? Okay? And this applies to anything at all. Because everything has been controlled. You might think you're not controlled, but you're still controlled. We still might have something that happens where they say, hey, you can't go to the movies or you can't go here or there unless you get the right? Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna still take it? Eh? You still gonna do it? I can't predict that much what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be quite interesting. All I know, hell, high, low, whatever you call it, nobody now force me for technical. You know something? I know so much of the power I have within me that they probably just skip over even contacting me. You see what I'm saying? Because I will blast them out from there. The voice and the power within me is so strong right now. I feel like the rocket. Okay? And that is where it has to come from. Every single person who is really choosing true sovereignty. Okay? Because the passiveness is not going to kick it. And the more, and I said to Spirit, I said, imagine if, just think, imagine if 100,000 of us, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 of us is in that full power. Imagine what we would be creating right now. We wouldn't even have to sign any petitions. We wouldn't even have to walk. We wouldn't have to even write anything. You see? Because that power comes from within us. The wealth it's in and of itself does not come from a human being. As far as I'm concerned, Source Creator is using the very same darkness, that other darkness, to bring us back to light, to bring us back to life, to bring us back to our true power and selves. Okay? We don't have to mingle with it, but we recognize it. Understand and know yourself as far as your true dark matter into what it means for you. Because again, they tried to paint it up like a pretty pony and give it other labels and names to create confusion. So that way now anyone who's awakening to their path, they get confused and say, oh my God, that's associated with the devil. Oh my God, it's just so scary. Oh, they're so evil. Oh, la 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 la. You see? And they're not in their power. Because the first thing that occurs now in these times is you go within first. If it feels like fear, then you question yourself, where does that fear come from? Is it me? Is it coming from my ancestors? Is it coming from my family? Is it something that's triggering me to investigate and to know? See? Because if it comes across as fear first, that means that's something that's hidden within you in the subconscious mind. Whatever reviews you're going through right now, Venus retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde. I remember the other one that's in retrograde. All these retrogrades has to do with a part of what's in the subconscious mind, to do with your relationships with yourself, your relationship with money, your relationship with power, your relationship with the government, the officials, anything or anyone that has told you what you're supposed to do. Are you running your own business, or is someone else's business running you? See? All of this is what affects you to what comes next in the next stage of your union, where it takes you. How you empower yourself with the true empowerment and the true divine principles of the Christ. You see? That you're able to also walk on the water, and you're able to divide the sea and bring the sea back together. Okay? That's metaphysics. That's metaphysics. And as you keep remembering that power within you, the more you embody it, okay? That means that you're not just talking it now. You're walking that walk. You're walking that walk. Because as immediately when I told the man, you better put on back that thing, I turned back the table upon him, Ross. I turned it back around. And immediately it was restored. You see? And there are some parts of ourselves that can bring in that force and that power without saying anything, because all you do is just take one look and that's it. That's it. And I knew when I said what I said, I knew that I shifted something majorly. I don't know how many decibels it went. That was no concern of mine. All I know is that it created a rippling effect. It created a rippling wave of something that was shifting dynamically. Okay? Just like the ocean, just like the volcano, the earthquake. It's all you. And it has to what? It has to bring in some type of power that comes across as a force. As a force. And it creates a what? A rippling effect. Never, ever, 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 ever have I ever heard of anything that created a rippling effect by being soft. Never. Everything I can think of that changes something has been a force. Hurricanes, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis. It's all a force. It's all a force. And right now, ladies, the ones who have wombs, we are going through womb chakra upgrades. We are creating and starting the process of the new earth. I was having so much severe cramps within the past few hours. And yesterday and the day before, swelling on my feet. I had to elevate my feet and everything. A lot of energy was pulsating through my feet. Even when I put on shoes, my feet was swollen. And I remember what it was like when I was pregnant with my children and my feet was swollen. I had to elevate my feet and all that stuff, you know. Sitting on the toilet for hours and hours. I mean, I know I'm going through a cleansing, but good God Almighty. It was just like, and I was like, I can't even get up to go eat. I'm even having breakfast at 10:30 at night. You heard me. Dinner at 2:30 a.m. And you know what? Time makes no difference. Makes no difference. Nope. I have not done anything ordinary or normal in such a long time. I don't even know what it is. I really don't. Nope. None at all. You know? And let me see what else. I'm trying to remember. I was watching Deep Cover. I was watching Deep Cover that starred Lawrence Fishburne. And my guy from Jurassic Park. Love him. Oh my God, he's so awesome. Two of them are so awesome in that movie. And I hadn't watched, and if the TV is on and the movie is on, it's not because I'm like, oh gosh, I just want to watch a movie now. No, this is when spirit is they're so clever. You just come on and all of a sudden my attention. And he was the character. He said, I don't know how to decipher myself in this, because it's like, I mean, that's not the exact words he said, but I'm just giving it to you as how I'm interpreting it. When he says that, I don't know whether to look at myself now as the cop pretending to be a drug dealer or the drug dealer pretending to be a cop, because he was so torn. He was trying to identify himself and he didn't know how to identify himself in this process. Because you see, what happened is he got a taste of power with the money and selling the drugs, and his intention, of course, was to break that down so that way it wasn't going into the black neighborhoods or the minority neighborhoods, you know, for them to get the drugs. But the only way that he could bring them down is that he had to infiltrate and become them in order for it to change. And then sometimes we forget that we came down here and we become the characters that we needed to be in order to what? To bring the change. And so the key is, when you go so far down in the rabbit hole, don't forget your oomph. Don't forget your power. Don't forget who you are. No matter how much you may have shrunk, have been abused. If you have been abused by a man or a relative, or if you've been abused by a woman, I'm gonna balance it out. Whether sexual, verbal abuse, if you have not addressed it, address it. Address it. Speak up. Say something. Do something. See? If you feel you've been violated, do something. A lot of things that are still within the subconscious mind, because we can't move forward in a sacred space of what the union is, because it involves sexual energy. And it's to understand that sexual energy and the distortions that have also been put out there from those same demonic dark forces, energies, okay, that know the power of that sexuality, the power of the body and the mind and the soul that comes together. And that's why those units were broken up into pieces. That's why the separation happened with many of our families in the time of when slavery began. You see? Because of the power. And that's why it's important to remember thyself. Remember thyself. Remember thyself. Remember who you are. Remember the title you hold, the true title. You don't have to physically have the crown on your head. No, you don't. It's because you know that. As small as Alice was in the movie, she said, I make the path. She didn't give a fuck what the dog says, where the dog says you gotta go. No, she said, I make the path. She didn't have no fear that the dog was bigger than her. Heck no. That was the highlight of the movie for me. Anyway, when she said, I make the path. You see? And so what I love about the movie I watched with Deep Cover, that no matter how deep he went, he still stood up for his black woman. He still, even though she represented the other side, he still protected her. And that's what the divine masculine is here to protect, his divine feminine. And he went so deep that he had to kill someone. He had to do this. He had to do all kinds of stuff. If you didn't watch the movie, I recommend you watch it. See what you get from it. You might get another picture with it. But what I'm sharing with you with that is that he didn't compromise himself anymore. And even though the guy who I can't remember his name is his name was David in the movie. Jeffrey Gold, I think it was Jeffrey Gold something. Anyway, and he said, okay, I know you're a cop. He said, but come on, get in the van. He said, I'll kill you if you don't come. And he's like, he decided he was not going to go back to the other side. He was not going to go back to being a drug dealer. He would have had all that money, all that power, you see? But what is it for a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What is it? You're empty inside. Empty. And it's to remember that we are the co-creators of the universe. And that co-creative energy and ability comes through from remembering your connection to Source Creator. Those dark forces and energy do not want you to remember the true DNA of that element of you. And once it is awakened, there is no turning back. None. You see? So even if you're kicking and screaming, you're still going to keep awakening to your true divinity, your true self. Because Mother Earth is ascending, and she's continuing to bring on more stuff on the planet for what is facilitating the change and what is coming into creation. You see? So, and you know, what's interesting about all of this is that, woo, it is a universal warfare. Yes, it is. It's a universal warfare. It's like, they showed me within the planetary system that there are other universes that are also in place that had created this huge war of the gods, you see, that wanted to take over. But they couldn't, because this is the ground here. This is the stomping ground for how you accelerate with your soul. Okay? How you accelerate, how you shift, and being able to embody that power in your physical body, and how it's demonstrated. That has never been completed. Ever. Never ever. And to remember that any codes, and keys that have existed in past timelines, linked to Yeshua, linked to the Buddha, linked to all the other ascended masters. It is not the same codes now. And the reason I'm saying this is because you have to, again, wisdom, divine intelligence. If you are feeling pulled to speak in your ancient tones, do it. Do it. Because it's within those codes is where no one can detect and know what is protecting your energetic field with your power. And I'm not saying that your power is being taken because you're not doing it. I'm just saying, again, use wisdom. When they spoke about when the languages started to break down, they couldn't understand. And that's the reason why when I did the Return of the Garden of Eden show and I felt myself feeling so discombobulated and I couldn't get the words out. None of the words come out, and I don't even fight it anymore because we're releasing the programs that are attached to words that have also kept us in bondage. Ay, kituri sila mere bakane. Kinuni balamata kutu silante shila katare bikito silama kata menebeko. Yesana bekitu shila baraketana mikitari sana kitanime. Kunni balante la kutu sida makane shekato mirari sama. Kenu ida balambete kiru kusilante beketene mikte. Kuti birakatsara kashokote miraka. And it could be several ancient tones and languages that have come through you, okay, in what you are remembering of yourself and all the multi-layered aspects and multi-dimensional aspects of yourself that becomes empowered. You see? And so as we attune and fine-tune the ancient tones, they're like showing me like it starts to connect all of the, I want to call it like, it connects all of the chakras like with like a, I don't know, it just feels like a tingling type of energy, okay? And that's what it does. That's what it does. That's what it does. And it doesn't matter whether it makes sense for you in physical English words. That's why I'm not surprised that that country, Madagascar, is taking such great steps to eliminate the who, eliminate English language, because it has caused one of the biggest confusions on the planet than ever, okay? I remember myself speaking ancient Portuguese, ancient Italian. I was speaking in ancient Indian dialects. I was speaking in ancient Mandarin. I was speaking in all these ancient tones. And that's how it's going to come through. It's going to come through. Because you see, as I speak the words, anything that may try to twist it and make it be misunderstood, it cannot do that, because I'm in my power with what I speak and how I feel and what I say and where I am. You see? Because I am beyond this physical body. And so it is. And so it is. And so that's the message. That's the message that I have I'm hearing. Excuse me. So they're saying that we are bringing into alignment the new grids, and it had started in some ways on the ground level, but it's also coming in galactically. Yes, there's a galactic force and a galactic energy that is also assisting us in recreating the new grid. And so what it feels like is like as if we're combining and blending everything that feels heavy. If your body feels heavy, because my body was feeling heavy also, it almost felt like I was carrying lead on my legs. See, so all of these codes and energy is flowing through from the cosmic element, and as it comes through into the body, your body is having to realign itself with those codes. And so it's important to keep walking up and down. If you're not walking up and down, you go outside, walk on the grass. Allow yourself to attune to Mother Earth. Tap into your shamanic energies if that's even necessary, as far as you coming in with that forceful power warrior element. See, because that is what those forces would not like for you to do. See, so it is to be in that stance almost daily. Okay, almost daily, whatever it takes to keep it in that powerful, forceful earth like that. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. That's the reason why we came in as giants before. See, the first incarnation that started, actually the first physical incarnation, because when many of us were first demigods, we were not in as much density in the body. Because I remember I received that channel message from a few days ago. I don't remember who I was saying it to, because I talked to so much people I can't remember who I said what to. So, and it comes through so quickly, and so they show me that, you know, the time frame of when we roamed, some of us roamed the earth and we were giants, because, you know, they don't even teach that in history. They hide that information. There were even giants in Jamaica. There's giants everywhere. Okay, the hieroglyphics and everything that's in other lands is because it's not just Egypt where many of us resided. Some of us were actually here in the region of the USA. Okay, they show me the USA is the cornerstone, the middle, it's the center of the galaxy. It is the center of where the forces began in what created the split. Okay, Atlantis was not different regions split up in all different places. Atlantis was one big gigantic space of creation. Okay, and so what happened is when things started to become destructive and break apart, okay, because it began with dissension and consciousness, and then, you know, the other aspect of the dark forces separated, brought in the separation, the fragmentation, coming down, descending in consciousness, descending into the physical realm, okay, and embodying the physical aspect, the physical DNA. And so the strands of the DNA was also connected to anything that was creating duality. Okay, everything that was had to do with the duality experiences. And so as the separation started to descend even more when it comes to male, females, families, everything, that same repeating cycle, the slavery time frame, separation, let's pull this one away, break up the families, you know, children without fathers, children without mothers, children ripped away from their mothers, all this pain. You see? So I know we'll say, oh, well, we've healed that and we've healed that and we've gone through that. But yes. But it comes back again and again and again because there's something we didn't address. We're doing something about it. And that means that if taking back your power means that you get yourself, your business going, get a business, detach from working for someone, that's a part of changing that, because then you are no longer in the system of being enslaved. You see? The enslavement also means that if someone in your family tells you not to go be with someone and you know that is your connection to your heart, that means you rebel and go motherfucking get married to that or connect to that person. You see, every part of you that takes some action with something that goes against you, that is how you recreate something new and different. You see? If your child tells you that they're in a male body, but they feel more feminine, and they say, I want to have a sex change, okay, that's breaking that cycle. Then if society tells you that you're brainwashing the child, they don't understand. What some people don't understand is none of your business. What you know the truth to be is where you move it along and you bring in that energy and that change and you post that motherfucker. So they know that no matter what they say, they cannot stop what is to change and to be new, that we define what true love is. But people think that true love means that I'm going to sit back and let someone dictate to me what true love is for me in my heart and what I'm creating. You see? That's it. And walking in the boldness of that truth, that no matter how you love, who you love, okay, what category it falls in, nothing can separate the power of this love. And if the power of that love means you're going to get on the horse and you're going to trailblaze and you're going to create endless boundless, timeless time frames of what is rightfully yours. You see? That even sometimes the very same person that you may call the opposition will give to you what they don't even realize. That's wisdom. You see? That's wisdom. And not feeling as if you have to get their permission. You don't need anyone's permission. As far as I'm concerned, who I report to with anything, who my boss is Prime Source Creator. That's who I get my directives from. Okay? Every single thing, everything. That book, this book, our book, The Return of the Garden of Eden, that's through Prime Source Creator. I don't have no middleman, no middlewoman, no somebody else that comes in. No, I have visitation, yes. I have other spiritual energies that have been here, that have had specific names, that have visited me. They must identify themselves with me. They cannot just come into my energy field just like that, okay? No, sir, because I'm in my power. They must identify themselves. And I give no fear behind it, and I have no fear behind it. I give no fucks behind it. I have no fucks behind it. Give nor receive it. Okay? No. And this is the point where we get when we are creating a new reality. That even the ones, you know who they are, that still do, they still are choosing to ignore the cries of the people. I told you we're back in those ancient Kemet times. The people said, let me go, take care of me. I trusted you. I voted for you. I whatever for you. I gave my energy for you. And look at what I received. Because this is the test for you to open your eyes. For anyone whose still eyes is not open, to open your eyes and see where have you been giving your power over to. That we're all sitting here wherever we are, waiting on a bunch of these people to make a decision and choice to do with your life and your livelihood and your children, if anything. What a wonderful gift. What a wonderful gift. Because something had to happen. Something had to take place for the walls and everything to break down. Oh, 7 times we ought to count. The walls of Jericho. 7 times. 70 times 7, huh? Over and over again. And we're finally at that place where the tools are right there in front of you to take your power back. I have not used any knives. I've not used any guns. I've not used any physical weapons whatsoever. None. See? Because that's what they would like for you to do, is to think that we're going out to battles and wars. You know? No. We are regenerating ourselves and attuning to the power within. Like I think of the mummy, when he had to get all the old organs from the past to recreate himself, while he still had to connect to the new people in order to recreate himself. So when we recreate ourselves, we must go into the past and bring it to the present. See? In order for us to recreate ourselves into the new earth and to embody true love, we must reconcile the spiritual love of who we are and our connection to Source Creator and embody it into the physical love. That's the true reality. See? We won't need any armor whatsoever, because the armor is going to be the word of the Christ, the word of God, the word of Source Creator, feminine and masculine principle, because that's where I come from. See? Because if anything, me feel say it's not going to be for the highest in all things, as long as we are in gratitude for that which is, that is for the all. So in other words, I'm looking forward to all the Mexicans, the Indians, the French, you know, anybody from Ghana, whatever parts of the world, that we all get to travel and come the distance to be where we choose to be, because we don't own the lands. You see, we're visiting here. We're visiting. And we're free to roam and be free, because we are the children of the Most High. You see? Where we won't need passports. that we're bartering with one another. You know, I don't like cooking, so if you like cooking, please come cook for me, and I could do your hair if you want, or I can, go have some fun, and we can, like I went up to the drive-through yesterday to get some Boston Mark, thinking I was playing some music, and lady in the store, she had on the mask on her face, and she's like, "Oh, you having a party?" It was just me in the car, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm always having a party, at least as most I can, because, I'm working through all this heavy density." And I said, imagine it was just 3 of them in the restaurant, and they had to wear a mask, huh? They had to wear a mask, and it's just 3 of them. But me never have no mask, no gloves, because I'm in my car. Why am I going to drive with a mask on my face in the car where I can't breathe? I choose to breathe. I choose to be in my freedom. And this again is where it comes to common sense again. Even though, yes, you wear the mask if you go in the supermarket and all that stuff, but why would you wear a mask walking on the street and in your car? This is the level of what I'm talking about in terms of consciousness and where you give your power away. That you're going to allow someone to tell you, "Oh, you got to wear your mask everywhere you go." Even jogging. And this man almost died. He was hospitalized because he was wearing a mask. And I don't give a flying fuck if anybody want to get upset over it. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody just about had the virus. Because before they did any lockdown anywhere, a lot of people I talked to, they already had the symptoms and was sick. I, for one, I know I already had it. And it was actually creating an immunity because of where it was taking me to the next level of my ascension. Oh, yeah. See? And for some, it was just either an exit out of something or entering into something. Everything had been serving its purpose, you see, for what it is. The key is to tune in, have that radio station playing all the motherfucking time. Not sometimes. Not walking like the Walking Dead, waiting for someone to tell you what's going on. Turn in the radio station first. Allow spirit to guide you. Always. That is what Source Creator wants and chooses and desires. Say, don't leave me out. I have always been present with you. I have always been with you throughout time. I always desire what you desire. But first, you must remember me. And in order for you to remember me, I am going to facilitate something or someone for you to remember me. I'm going to create the element of you being split into 2, if anything. So you remember me through someone that you have this deep, 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 deep love. But first you must love yourself, and that person is going to help you, whoever it is, to remember yourself and to remember this love that I have for you that goes deeper than the deepest ocean, wider than the widest sea, farther than the furthest aspect of anything that shines forth. You see? But if you keep going back into the physical in what you see and what you have, you're going to create more pain, more feeling stuck, or and it's not a punishment. Again, it's to get your attention. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye, hear ye. Kings and queens of this new king queendom. Are you present? Are you here? Are you listening? Are you aware? See? That's where it's taking us. Because if we are relying on the physical first, it's going to fragment parts of you and also your reality. So you go back in again and dig in and start to heal. So that way you now remember, I was the one that always had the power all along. I had to find myself through everything that has broken down around me. And for such, I am in gratitude. See? Yesterday, I was just so out of it. So, the lady in the Boston market, she was just smiling and she's like, you know that if I took it off, other people, they might even complain. I said, I know there's some snitches out there. I said, but they'd be all right. I said, you go ahead and celebrate. Listen to my music while you get that food ready. And she was happy. I made her day. And also the other 2 that were in there, because when these things happen, it gets you to think for once or twice, perhaps, and really dive in deeper. How much have I really been giving my power away that I was not even aware how much I've been giving my power away, and what it took for the divine to create this beautiful illusion and real virus. See? It opened the doors and it opened up a gold mine, but it's for you to see it. And no matter how much you may look outwardly, gotta remember to come back in, gotta remember to see where my soul is taking me here and there every single moment of the day. And when you really let your soul communicate to you, it is such a beautiful experience. It's such a beautiful experience, you see? And you get to choose. It's CHOOSEDAY where I am. We get to choose. And there's some things that you may not have control over anymore. So there's choosing and letting go, moving forward, stepping back, resting, movement, roaring, humility, quiet, storm, everything all together. And I know sometimes it feels like I call this like being in a washing machine, like you feel like you're being washed and cycled over and then it's washing again. And what I talk about in the book, that sometimes some of us have to go through many washing cycles, you know, like you got a favorite blouse or a dress that has a stain on it and you can't get that stain out, so you got to put it back in again, or you got to put oil in there, or if it's a white clothing you got to put bleach in there, you know, and the stain still can, but you still got to go back and wash it again and wash it again and again and again. And it may not necessarily fade out completely, but at least you know that you have to begin through a cycle of something to get it into another aspect of itself in order to see the results of what you're desiring to see. Because if you had the blouse or the shirt just sitting there with a stain, it's definitely not going to go away if you don't do something about it. You got to do something about it, you know, or maybe a home remedy or something that'll get the stain out. But either way, you got to do something too as well with it, you see, because I think, again, there's a programming that runs in the background. Oh, the Savior's coming. Oh, somebody's going to come in. Oh, God is going to do something and then it's going to happen. No, you're doing something and then something is happening. See? Because it's working on all timelines, all energy, the mental thought, and then also the heart. The heart is saying where the heart leads you as well. You see? The navigational system, you're navigating, you know, in and out, back and forth. Okay? And that in the moment that something's occurring, if it doesn't feel right, say something or do something. Because guess what? At the moment that you do that, you really will start moving in the direction of feeling better, healing it, shifting it, and then you're moving it into another element and energy where it starts to take form into something else. And then you will feel peace because you finally released it. Because like how I felt when I left the pharmacy and I wanted to go back, and I said, I'm not going to go to bed feeling like this. And I called him up on the phone and I said what I had to say and I felt better. And then I didn't end there. When I got home, I spoke about it with my children, because guess what? My children carry DNA too as well. They carry specific DNA that I may not necessarily carry, and then they carry some that I do carry, because we are all like aspects and particles of self that comes in multidimensionally through and with each other. So at the moment, I had to address it with what? 3 of my children, and therefore I didn't look at it and say, well, this one should have did this, or if you know, I didn't ask Brandon what he would have done compared to Charlize, but I wanted to get that perspective so that way she would see the perspective of how she would have made a difference, that the energy would not have left out the door. But then she said to me also, which I looked at it from her perspective, she didn't tell me because she figured I was going to blast him from here to Timbuktu. She's motherfucking right. I would have. But when I'm blasting it because I'm putting him in his place. Okay? So he's going to think about the fact that if we do not change by saying something with the constant repeating cycle of how our colored, and I'm not going to say minority because I don't consider myself to be a minority, not ever, okay? Anyone else that anyone feels is less than for them. You see? That when everyone pulls together in what is to shift and to change with the healing within the self and outside of the self, the healing within the self and outside of the self, and addressing it in whichever way that it shows up in your reality, okay, to complete the circle and bring that balance, you see, until it is no longer existing on the physical earth plane. Because of course, as far as what I see, his story has had its chance. His story has come across for centuries of egomaniacal control, manipulation, dishonoring, disempowerment, okay? All of the dissing. And what's been missed is the full expression of divine love and what it means to honor each other on all sides of the spectrum. See? Complete honoring. And of course, the honoring, if you desire to experience being honored, you start honoring yourself as well. Okay? You do not give your power away either. See? Because it's that passive aggressive or that passive energy that comes through, that filters through the spiritual community, the religious community. Don't say anything. You're not being spiritual. You're not ascending. You're not a Christian. You know, be nice, turn the other cheek, let it go, you know, and then you walk away and let it go. And guess what? You're still carrying that same feeling of feeling disempowered because you didn't do or say something. Don't let your daughter that wears braids go to a school and you let the school say that she has to not wear braids because that's not the protocol for the school. You do something, you say something. You don't allow, again, for someone to tell you what gender your child should be. You don't allow anyone to tell you that your child has to be vaccinated to go back to school. It's a lot of things we're going to be really changing, shifting, moving, movement, action, proactive, speaking up. The throat chakra is pulsating, pounding. The heart knows what it wants and it pulls in the energy of love. Love does not mean that I accept anyone treating me any way I feel like it just because I love them. That's a misconception. Love means that I love you unconditionally, but I will not allow you to dishonor me or anyone else ever again. That you don't tell me who I should love. That you don't tell me that I'm too old or I'm too black or I'm too white or I'm too this or I don't have enough money or this and that and all that bullshit and I got to get this from this first before. No. All those barriers and blocks is why we are here, to break the mother jumper out of here. And it means you're going to go back into the blackness. You're going to go back into the energy of the blackness in order to bring light to what you need to bring that change. No more avoiding. No more avoiding. See? And once you remember that within yourself, what it really means, you find peace within yourself and peace for the ancestors. And that's the reason why when I was on the plantation, they all waved at me and thanked me for coming there. I went through one of the most humiliating things being on that plantation. But you see, the higher wisdom of myself knew that I had to physically be there. I had to go through the fire. I had to face homelessness. I had to go through that fire. I had to face being evicted. I had to go through that fire. I had to go through watching my mother wither away I had to go through that fire. I had to go through a divorce. I had to go through losing my job. I had to go through all those fires. I had to go through the fire of almost losing my child and my mother at the same time, with two of them sick in the hospital and needing blood transfusion. I had to go through the fire of going through a pregnancy all by myself and not having a husband, and in tears and falling down on the ground begging God to help me. I had to go through all that fire. You see? But if I didn't, I wouldn't be who I am today. I really wouldn't. See? I kept it going. I always knew. I had to go through a fire, an actual fire at my house. When I was married, I had to go through that too, a physical fire. I was homeless again that time. I had to go through it so many times. 70 times 7, huh? 70 times 7. So when we agreed to come here, we agreed to come with a great force, because we are the force. We are the force. I have never and could never imagine God, source creator, coming in like a little dainty thing in the night. And then I hear they say, yes, I do. I do come in as a dainty force in the night, very dainty. And I said, yeah, you're right. But you know, as far as I remember, when I was created from force and power. Yeah. Force and power. Yeah. That's what I remember. And I saw and remembered myself with my twin being androgynous, and we were golden. And I knew when I came back again that we would not be doing it alone this time. That we would not be persecuted this time. That we would not have to feel like we're going through it alone this time. That we were safe, protected, and taken care of. So if you feel that you still cannot find that power within you to pull it together, to take the next step, just give yourself a pat on the back for where you have reached so far. Because it really becomes mind over matter. It's like you don't even give it a second thought, and then next thing you know, you find that power. When I think about even the movie Ray, I remember he was blind. And that part of the movie when the young lady had slept with him out of her own will, and he thought she was drunk, and she was not drunk. She was pregnant for him. And she was angry because he told her they should have an abortion. And she said, oh, because I'm not your precious bee, I shouldn't have this baby. And she said, well, I'm going to have this baby. And he got up and he's like, no, you're not, because this is not the deal that we made. And that rage that came through her with him created a song. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more. And when I remember that, I said, wow, it's always something deep and painful that always forms into something powerful. Very, very powerful. The pain of separation, the pain of, abuse, the pain of feeling enslaved and losing things and, all of that. Because there's always something more that you're going to find within yourself when it happens. And so I totally agree with that young lady video I shared. She said, and I'm not to say if someone is more enlightened than the other because what they go through, because, I look at this with life that I feel that the worst problem that anyone could have is if it's something that affects your health more than anything physically. Because you can have all the things in the world, but if you don't have your health and strength, you're nothing. You're helpless. I watched my mother where she couldn't even speak anymore. She couldn't speak. That was it. The disease took over the final organ where she couldn't talk, and I was forced to exercise telepathy and feel what she was thinking And I knew at that moment I would never hear my mother's voice again. Never. All I have is just a recording of her on a what do you call it, answer machine, because she used to call me every single day, always leaving messages, and I still have it with her voice. You hear my voice, you hear her voice. You see? So I don't take it for granted, even the pain that I've endured and had, all my relationships, everything, all the downfalls. I'm grateful I never had any major illnesses except chicken pox and little viruses here and there and all that, you know. But I know how resilient I've been and how much I've taken. And all I know is that we are closer. We are closer than we have ever been with things that we're manifesting. See? So while we're manifesting, while we're shifting and in movement of things, the 3D world is still continuing. And I'm not saying to attach completely to it, but just be aware that as we're moving through these alchemical process of change and shifts on the planet, that we are still mindful of the physical things that are also in rotation within and outside of us. And that as you see it in its motion and how it's affecting you or anyone around you, that you remember to bring it into its alignment within yourself, because we can still shift things within ourselves with that force element to make it appear differently now compared to how it was, before. That's the key, is how are we now choosing for the outer world to now start to look like what we desire. Yes. And that in the process of everything breaking down, we're still moving and shifting with the thought process of attuning to what can I do next to bring in my joy? What can I do next? As I bring in my joy, I'm healing myself, I'm shifting, I'm coming into my own inner power, and I'm also making choices that I know that even if it goes against and makes someone else feel uncomfortable, that I'm still going to proceed. I'm going to proceed. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it rolling. See? That even if it means that I've been used to someone taking advantage of me and I know it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to compromise myself any longer because it'll hurt someone else or it's going to affect someone else that I know it is not right and it's not in integrity. Then you make that choice, because that's power. That's power. But if you still stay with something or somewhere that's not in integrity, and that someone is being taken advantage of or dishonored, see, then you ask yourself this question: why are you doing that? Why? Where is it going to take you? And there's some that may not even be consciously aware of it happening, because the programmings run so deep. They run so deep, 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 and it spirals and it's linear. It spirals and it's linear. You see, because it always is something that as you release it, it tries to attach itself back into another programming that'll make you think like, no, but I did change. I'm not really going to do that, but I really need the job. I really need to stay here with this person because they take care of me. Where am I going to go? See, that's how the manipulation comes back, feeds into your emotion, make you feel like you need them. Sometimes it happens that way too. And you see, at that moment is when you choose again, who is my source? Who is the true source of my creation? Where does it come from? Another human being? It can come through another person. But how much power are you going to give to that person that says, don't leave because I take care of you? Or if you don't do this the way I want you to do it, you won't have your job again. I will take away this, or take it away if it makes you feel better. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Those are just examples. Those are just examples. So anyway, that's the message. And I will play this last music again. I had a past life memory with Rondi where it was always that forbidden love. And we lived in Portugal. And our hearts were broken because we couldn't be with each other because we were married to two different people. Like I was married to someone, he was married to someone, and all I kept hearing was that I was the rose and he was the thorns. And so I talk about in the book about the rose among the bushes. And you know, my name is Sharon, so in the biblical scriptures, the rose of Sharon. And just because you have the thorns doesn't mean that it's not good, because the rose needs the thorns, and the thorns also creates the rose, just like Beauty and the Beast, you know. And I just felt all this love, and I started speaking in ancient Portuguese, and I felt all this love and how I couldn't hold it back, but then it was still held back because of people, because of rules and regulations. And I said, imagine a world now where we're able to feel the love that we feel with no restrictions. We're able to feel the love that we feel and express it without someone dictating to us that it's illegal, or you got to fulfill a contract, or you have to get permission from someone, you know, in authority, you know, because I know that what's coming is not marriages in terms of the man law marriage. It's the spiritual marriage first. The spiritual marriage. I rather know that everything comes into alignment within my soul, where I feel free and I don't have to walk up to someone or go to a store or go to a restaurant and feel like I'm going to be discriminated against because of the color of my skin, or that someone is going to tell me I can't do something because I'm too old for it, or that this one is too young, or you're too this, or you're not of the, you're of a gay person, you're a gay person and we don't accept that here. See, total freedom. And that means that whatever lies within the subconscious mind of people, that it's completely eradicated. And I know when I hear some people say, oh, the world is never going to change, oh, it's always going to be the same, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Because I know that between now and 2022, all the planets are in alignment for what will continue to break down. And you all, whoever is listening, you will start to feel, I saw 2 hours and 22 minutes. You will start to feel that true freedom within yourself, because you will now see the delight of the universe in what it means to be in the fullest expression that you could ever be. I think of What Dreams May Come in the movie, when they showed what it's like being on the other side, where we all take on whatever visual that we want to take, long hair, short hair, blonde, this, whatever part we want to show up as, young, old, but most of us is young, because I just don't see souls aging. I don't feel age in this. We become timeless. We look younger. We don't go to the doctors anymore. We're young and vibrant. Every organ in the body is happy. It's blissful. And it shows inward and it's felt inward. It shows outward and you could see it and feel it in all dimension, in all time, and all space. Some of us are in the air, some of us are on the ground, just free. That's what the new earth is. That's what I see. It makes me want to cry because I know what it's going to look like. And it doesn't look like what exists now. That's all I know. It doesn't. And how I wish I could press the button and speed it up. You see? Because it hurts me to see what the world has done to itself. But it makes me happy because the change is coming. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening through me and it's happening through you. And as much as I know I'd love for everyone to know what it feels like, not everyone is going to be able to experience it. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So this is tears of joy because I can see what's coming. So I love you. I thank you for just being here with me and listening to the messages flowing. I appreciate you and I send you lots of love, and I am choosing that I'll be back Thursday for the show. I had to go through so much processing, so much energy, and I had to honor myself. And I'm on here because I choose to be, and I was led to be on here now. So I send you all so much love and light and power and wisdom and strength, and allow the light and the energies to flow through you on who to be, where to be, and how to be. And so it is. So I'll just make the rest of the song play out. It is called Amor a Portugal. She sang it in English, and now she's singing it in Portuguese, and it's Amor a Portugal Dulce Pontes. That song was led to me during the course of my awakening, and it came through Rondi, of course, because he was a poet and he always loved to write poetry of love. And the beautiful thing about what's coming is that we don't have to hide behind the words with how we feel. We don't have to hide behind the words anymore, that we're going to be able to express authentically and openly. Your love. That's what it means. Your love, a rose among thorns. Up love shines in my heart. Peace be with you. I love you.